On this episode of Upgrade Your Outdoors, we'll show you how we built in just 2 days and under $200 a fire pit in our backyard.
That's right, and what you'll need to build a fire pit like ours is 125 bricks, 4 80-pound bags of concrete, 4 60-pound bags of mortar, 50 feet of aluminum sheeting 1 foot wide, 12 wooden stakes, a shovel, a wheelbarrow, a garden hose, measuring tape, a level, and a mortar trowel. All of these things can be had for less than $200 at your local hardware store.
So after you bring all your stuff back to your house, how did you decide where to put the fire pit?
That's a good question. We decided to keep it about 25 feet away from the house, and that's just to comply with the local city ordinance we had. It's probably the same where you live. Might be different though. You want to check before you decide for sure. We also kept it 10 feet away from that wooden fence you see over there, and we also recommend that you keep it 10 feet away at minimum from anything else in your yard if you can, like trees, bird feeders, things like that. Remember, this is a permanent decision because we're working with concrete and mortar and bricks, so from both a design standpoint and a practical standpoint, put it exactly where you want to have it. And once you've made your decision, you can go ahead and unload your supplies, stage your building area.
After you decide where you want to put your fire pit, you're ready to start digging.
That's right, and the hole that you're going to dig, well, it's going to take more than one person, so we brought in our buddy JT. Alright, JT is here. JT, give us your thoughts on the current situation.
Well, it's not good so far.
JT, our masonry specialist, was a little bit skeptical of the moist conditions that we were working with. Not great for concrete work, not great for digging, as you'll see. We actually recommend getting 2 shovels and a buddy to help you if you can. We did this with 3 people. What we're doing now is measuring the total diameter of the hole we're going to dig. So it's going to be 4 feet, 8 inches in diameter, and it's going to be 6 inches deep. The concrete foundation will be completely under the ground level, okay? And the hole is going to be a little bit wider than the total width of the entire fire pit when everything's said and done. The 3 foot wide burning area and the 4 foot 6 inch wide brick wall that surrounds that burning area. There's your finished hole, and you can see we're ready to start creating our mold for our concrete foundation.
So after you're done with the hole, what did you have to do to establish the form for the concrete?
Well, it honestly took us a little while to figure out the best way to create the shape for the form, for that aluminum sheeting to fit around a circle. There you can see what we decided to do. Took a center stake and then measured out 8 stakes all around it, each 1.5 feet from the center. So that gave us a rough estimate of a 3 foot diameter circle. And then for the outer circle, it only needed to be a slightly wider, so just a brick's length wider. So we used bricks to measure out the stakes to shape that outer circle. So that gives us an inner and an outer limit for concrete.
After you've made your mold, the next step is to pour out your concrete.
That's right. So now we're going to mix some concrete, just as JT is doing now. And as you can see, he's a little bit dry there. You want it to have basically a muddy consistency before you pour. So I'm coming over, I'm going to try to apply some water to this wheelbarrow. And what you really want to do is not miss the wheelbarrow like I did. Spray it right into the wheelbarrow. Yeah, just like that.
Joe, come in here real quick. You can see we're putting bricks around this edge so that this frame for the concrete doesn't seep into it and it starts to interrupt the overall shape of the fire pit, because really, even if it's only a little bit off aesthetically, it really can mess up the image of it. So by putting these bricks, we're trying to maintain this circular image where this ring of concrete is as uniform as possible. Really helps with the overall appearance of it at the end.
Yeah, what JT said.
It's little stuff like that that really helps in the overall project. Here, when it's not as wet as it is over there, it won't settle all the way. So we're probably going to have to use one of the stakes from the inside, like that middle one, and jam it in all through it to get rid of these air bubbles. Otherwise, you're going to end up with pockets in the concrete, and you never want that in the foundation. because hot air expands.
And here you can see JT doing exactly what he was describing to you, shoveling out that concrete a little bit with a stake to get rid of the air bubbles and make sure it's entirely settled. We'll sign off here, leaving it to set for 48 hours before we begin part 2 of our video.